The New York Times 2-hour-plus interview with President Trump was extraordinary for two alarming reasons. Each reason sits at opposite ends in the piece, like menacing gargoyles over our republic. The first is a breathtaking quote from Trump that opens the interview about whether there were any limits to his global powers.
Do you see any checks on your power on the world stage? Is there anything that could stop you if you wanted to?
Yeah, there's one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop, and that's
law.
Very good. I don't need international law. I'm not looking to hurt people.
My own morality. By conventional standards, Trump has none. His life is a veritable junkyard of examples, but I'll highlight two of them. In 2017, when white supremacists marched on Charlottesville, Virginia, and Heather Heyer, a counter-protester, was killed by one of them, Trump said this.
You had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
In a fight between bigots and those standing up to their hate, there are no very fine people among the former. Just last month, after the horrific slaying of actor Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle, Trump posted a message on his social media platform that was stunning in its cruelty. He wrote that the killing was, quote, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. Given those two examples, Trump's assertion that my own morality will guide his foreign policy decisions seems more like a threat than a balm. The second alarming revelation in the New York Times story came at the very end. Quote, and Mr. Trump, who said he was elected to restore law and order, reiterated that he was willing to invoke the Insurrection Act and deploy the military inside the United States and federalize some National Guard units if he felt it was important to do so. So far, he said, I haven't really felt the need to do it. Inflammatory statements by Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem on the ICE shooting of Renee Good in Minneapolis on January 7th gives me no confidence that Trump won't feel the need to do it in the future. My lack of confidence is compounded by the FBI's decision to block Minnesota officials from investigating the matter with them and the decision to send more Border Patrol agents to Minneapolis. I applaud the righteous indignation expressed by Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey against a situation that is making their communities less safe. But I reserve my highest praise for those folks in Minneapolis and elsewhere who have recorded interactions between ICE and their communities. Were it not for an eyewitness recording of Good's final moments, the lies told by Trump, Vance, and Noem about Good and the circumstances surrounding her death would have stood as fact. Not that the existence of several other recordings revealing their lies matters to this administration. After all, the boss is someone who believes the only check on him should be, quote, my own morality, my own mind. Joining us now, Bishop William J. Barber II. He is president of Repairers of the Breach and founding director of the Center for Public Theology and Public Policy at Yale Divinity School. Bishop Barber, it is great to see you, sadly, under these circumstances, but we have a president who claims his own morality should be the only barrier to his power. What would it look like to actually have a president be a moral leader?
Well, let me start. This is heavy, Jonathan, because religious nationalists have helped feed this into Trump because they've taught him that he's some kind of Messiah figure, like Cyrus in the Bible, terrible exegesis, bad. And he really thinks his own morality is kind of his own God wannabe-ness. And so in his mind, whatever he does is wrong. It's a kind of sick psychosis, narcissistic. But a true moral leader would be a leader that says, I am constrained. I'm constrained by the Constitution to establish justice, not injustice. I'm constrained by the Constitution to care for to provide for the common defense of all people, not blame somebody for being shot by an ICE agent. I am constrained by the Constitution to care for the least of these because I'm supposed to promote the general welfare of all Americans, not wake up in the morning and in my own mind decide, I know how I use my power. Let's see how many people's health care I can take. Let's see how many people I can block from a living wage. Let's see how many people I can make hungry in a time when food prices are out of whack. And while I'm doing that, let's see how much hate I can spread. Let's see how much division I can spread. Let's see how much meanness I can spread. And while I'm doing that, let me see how many more billionaires I can make billionaires and maybe a trillionaire. If you really were following just the Constitution itself, equal protection under the law, it would be different. But that's not where his mind is. Now, if you couple that with he's also listening to these people that have decided that empathy is the cause of the decline of Western society. It's quite sick because it's because of empathy that we have hospitals, and because of empathy that we have Social Security, and because of empathy that we have Medicaid, and because of empathy that we have public schools. Is because people empathize with those who did not have and said this ought to be the work of government. So what he has said is very dangerous and a sign of a very sick kind of narcosis and Messiah type thinking.